Is the mic on? Yes, it is. Well, I guess we'll start the pregame show now. Ugh. Hello, I'm Garrett Milbrandt, the voice of Millersville Ice Hockey, and this is it, folks. The final game of the regular season. It has been an exhilarating season for the Marauders. So, since this game won't affect the standings a whole lot if we win, I'm going to do a slight breach of etiquette, if you'll let me. And instead of doing the keys to victory, we're going to look at the top 5 games of the year for the Millersville Marauders. They've had a lot to choose from, so it's kind of hard to pick my top 5, but I think I got a good list. First, I'm going to go with first game of the season, September 27th, Millersville 8, Stockton 5. Just the perfect way to start the season with a 13-goal thriller. Millersville-Stockton games rarely disappoint, and it looks like we'll be getting another edition of that in the playoffs this Friday as both squads are locked in the 4 and 5 seed. It'll be Millersville-Stockton and Scranton versus either Drexel or UPenn. Will go over the playoff clinch scenarios later on. Next up, homecoming, October 3rd, Millersville 2, Kutztown nothing. A homecoming win, a packed house, a shutout, 2 fights, shirtless crowd surfing. What's not to like about that game? Also, having Josh and TJ in the booth with me is always fun. Next, I'm going to go with the October 18th game, Millersville 12, TC&J nothing. A 12-goal game, a 12-goal win may seem like the most insane stat line from this game, but it's not even close, with the Marauders outshooting the Lions 112-8. Insane. If you weren't there for that game, it's still on the YouTube channel. Go back and watch it. And I did not stutter. 112 shots to 8. I don't think we're ever going to see a game like that again. That's something special. Next up, I'm going to go first conference game of the spring semester. Millersville 5, UPenn 4 in overtime. Last Friday in this very building. You should remember this one well. First conference game of the spring semester, spoiling UPenn's senior night and clinching a playoff spot at their place. Not much feels better than that. And lastly, I'm going to go with the game right after that, the next day, Millersville 6, Westchester 3. That day, they did something that no other conference team has done yet this season, and that is beat the Westchester Golden Rams in regulation and beat them handily, might I add. 3-goal game. That was not a squeaker. An amazing senior night atmosphere, and of course, 2 goals from Jonah Bird is always going to get me hyped up. Puck drop coming up in about 5 minutes. Stick with us. And I guess we could take a little look at the playoff picture before this. This is a must-win game for Drexel. And even if they do win, they still might not make the playoffs. After they got just pantsed last night by UPenn, 10-2, never was really close at any point in the game. They're in a bad spot. They do not control their own destiny. They need to beat us first off. But even if they do beat us, they'll need Seton Hall to win their 3rd conference game of the year against UPenn. It is at Seton Hall, so there's some of that. It's a bit of a bus ride for the Quakers, but they're going to need a whole lot for Drexel to get into that 6th seed. They were kind of really controlling that 6-5 seed spot all year, but collapsed down the stretch, and UPenn came out of nowhere. Obviously, it was pretty set that TC&J and Seton Hall will be our last 2 teams, but UPenn was kind of glued to that 7-seed spot, a good 5-7 points behind everybody else in the playoff picture. But they came thundering back, taking up 4 points at 2 games against us, big win against Stockton. And UPenn could be dangerous in the playoffs if they get in, and that's looking like a very, very real possibility. They need either to win, or they could still lose. With us winning, they make it in. So it'll most likely be UPenn versus Scranton, and us versus Stockton. Well, us versus Stockton is confirmed, but UPenn Scranton is the most likely matchup. And for those maybe the first season watching us unfamiliar with how the Colonial Cup playoffs work, it's kind of like the NFL playoffs, so they reseed after the wild card round. So just saying, if it's chalk, Millersville and Scranton win, we being the lowest seed left will play Westchester, and Scranton will play Newman. But if UPenn beats Scranton, they'll play Westchester, and we'll play Newman. So the 1 seed gets the lowest remaining seed after the first round. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's next week at LAR, bound to be an electric atmosphere. People already getting mad in the parking lot before the game, coming in and watching some hockey. Again, anyone who hasn't been to LAR before, be warned, it will be rough in that parking lot. So just be ready for that. Puck drop coming up in 2 minutes. Oh, it seems like Jack Cranston's in the chat here. Hi, Jack. We miss you so much. I love you, buddy. Yeah, for those just joining us and missed the pre-show, puck drop will be coming up in about a minute. Get them off, get national anthems going. So be right where you are. Puck drop coming up very, very soon. Also, just pitching it more, stick around for a little bit after the first period is over. On the bus ride here, I got a special end of season exit interview with Coach Matthew Schroeder and a little bit from assistant coach Nick Latronica. So if you want to hear the gospel from the coach, stick around after the first because we got an interview here for you. Well, he's not here in the booth. I'll be saying what he said, but his words, my mouth, same meaning. And with that, in rendition of the national anthem, done a little bit quicker than Lehigh last night, we're just about ready to go here. And it should be said for those listening at home, enjoy that warm comfort of your home, snuggling up on the couch, watching, and maybe a little fireplace. It is freezing in here. I can see my breath when I'm doing it, but 103-year-old ice rinks usually aren't known for their great insulation. So we're freezing. You're having a good time tonight, and we're just about ready to start the final game of the season for Millersville before the playoffs. Coach Schroeder and Latronica talking to the men, looking poised as always on the bench. The Schroeder family made the trip here, so got a decent cheering section behind the goal of Gavin Rusnock and up here. Actually, I'm not sure where they're sitting. I think they're sitting to our left over there. Yep, to our left. So they got a good view of the Millersville side of the ice for the first and third periods. Hoping their baby boy, Matt, has a good game coaching. It'll be Gavin Rusnock getting his second start in as many days for the Marauders. Strategy from Coach Schroeder, he wanted to have Cassidy and Rusnock both do 2-game weekends to see, get a gauge of where they're at for the playoffs. I got a good feeling both of them can definitely handle 2 games at once. And his opposite for the evening will be Vincent Vassallo for Drexel, their normal goaltender. Again, playing for the lives here. They still have playoffs. Very low shot at it, but they got to play for it nonetheless. Millersville, Drexel, just about ready to get things going here from that UPenn logo at center ice. It's Walter O'Connell winning the draw from Millersville, kicking it back to Ben Bell, who defers to Thor Martin to get things going on. O'Connell behind the back pass, looking for Alan Ryder, leaves it a little long where it's intercepted by a Dragon. Alan Ryder throws a hit, hits more of the boards than his man, but I like the effort, Alan. Drexel looking to penetrate the Millersville zone. Stephen Basin taking it. Basin behind the back of Rusnock. Pass gets picked off by Martin, but it falls back in Dragon hands. Quick shot in on Rusnock goes well wide. Back out to Millersville. Ryder tries to find O'Connell, lead a little in front of him. Back out to the Millersville D-line. Bell through neutral ice, plays off O'Connell and left in Drexel territory. 4 new Marauders enter the fray. Jonah Bird, Andrew Zerko, Kai Dunnigan, and Jake Petticone will come out on the ice. It's Zachary Jones working around for Drexel. Jones kicks out to Held. Held sends in shot well wide of Rusnock. UPenn playing on the perimeter. It's not UPenn. I'm looking at the logo. Drexel playing on the perimeter. Bird fans on the stoppage attempt. Aiden Stromberg in neutral zone. Stromberg picks it off, but can't get the bounce to go his way. Actually goes to Zerko. Andrew Zerko, centering pass. Dropped by a Drexel man. Set back in by Kai Dunnigan. Nothing going on that attempt for Millersville. Petticone picks off the ice long pass. Goes behind the friendly net of Rusnock and gets the play going. Jake Petticone shoots his man out. Petticone taking it through neutral ice. Will dump it around the fishbowl for Stromberg. Finds him. Stromberg behind the backs. Back to Zerko. Zerko couldn't get a clean stick in it. Bounces off Corey Held's helmet and hits Justin Corelli on the wrist. Rysack will send it back in, banging it off the boards. Sticked out by Vassallo. Corelli takes his man off his skates for just a second, where Aiden Carey, one of the goal scorers from last night against Lehigh, will chip it in for Wes Bieber. Bieber had a good night on the ice, but not a great night against Coach Latronica in Cup Pong. I think he got swept. I don't think he beat him once. Carey will chase it down with Gavin Lawlin. Sat for the past couple games. He's back in. Oh my God, Jacob Schindler. Couldn't think of his first name for a second. Jacob Schindler, healthy scratch for this for the game tonight. I don't know where he is. Probably on the bench somewhere. Carey through neutral ice, chips it in for Vassallo, plays it off his pads, and leaves for Owen Mendham. Mendham can't get past Bell. Falls back to Martin. Martin from the Millersville bench. Gets his stick tapped and loses possession momentarily, but the Marauders get flagged for an offside. Again, another quirk about the 103-year-old rink we are at. The benches are looking at each other. They're not perpendicular. Actually, they are perpendicular. They're not next to each other. It's kind of weird. But less opportunities these teams have to chirp at each other, the better. It'll be Slaybaugh waiting for the draw from Millersville. Slaybaugh stays in, wins it to Wilkinson. Wilkinson took a beating last night against Lehigh, but he played every minute with his heart out there. Tough fella, Owen Wilkinson. Not much going on that possession there. 16:49 left in our first period. Shots read 2-1 in favor of the visitors. Millersville getting some decent looks in, but they'd like a little more consistent pressure on Vassallo. Slaybaugh on the draw again. This time Drexel comes away with it. It's Josh Search. Search loses it quickly to Wilkinson. Wilkinson and Slaybaugh causing mayhem down low. Slaybaugh sends it in, deflects off Vassallo, and kicks out to Nathaniel Sleeberman. Sleeberman through the Millersville zone, trying to find his man, Zachary Jones. He can't. He only finds Wes Copshow. Kicked back out to Martin. Thor Martin taking it through the neutral zone with Slaybaugh behind him. Martin gets tied up for a second, keeps with it. Thor Martin rips it, goes high of Vassallo. And speaking of Thor Martin, there have been a handful of really great names we've come across this season, and I hope you won't think I'm biased when I give Thor Martin the first ever name of the season. A lot of good name in the games. There was, what was his name? Jack Montana out of Scranton. He was a good one. Or John Montana. Pretty cool name. But the guy's name's Thor. Come on, that's awesome. So, name of the season for 25-26 is Thor Martin. Congratulations, Thor. O'Connell chips it off the boards, chased down by Ryder. Ryder picks off, held for just a second, but held regains possession. O'Connell staying with him. O'Connell and Ryder causing mayhem in the Drexel back ice. Ryder lays a big hit for his man's not looking. And Stephen Basin enters the Marauders zone. Pass gets past Dunnigan. Back out, trying to stay away from the Marauders captain. Drexel stuck on the periphery right now. Kind of a fake little deke slap shot back out to Basin. Basin, centering pass, broken up immediately by Petticone. Petticone fans on it. Gets it back to Jake. Trying to get it off held stick, but it goes to Dylan Fletcher. Fletcher back out. Ripped it. Goes wide. Full extension. Gavin Rusnock just pushes it wide of his right post. Left for Johnny Morgan. Morgan stick tied up for a second. Goes back into O'Connell. O'Connell from close range has to backhand it. Collects his own rebound. Misses Morgan. And Drexel back on the attack. Promising start for Millersville, though. But don't look now. Zachary Jones one-on-one with Rusnock. Rusnock shuts the door and keeps his goal clean on his second shot faced in the first 5 minutes. O'Connell gets pass off last second to Aiden Stromberg. Stromberg taking on the defense by himself right now. A little between the leg pass. Stromberg lose it for a split second. 1-on-4. Aiden Stromberg nearly gets the shot off. Impressive stick work from the Marauders senior leader. Not senior, but he was a senior member of the team. You know what I mean. Actual senior, Connor Rysack goes far ice looking for Jonah Bird. Bird and Morgan down low. Morgan knocked off his skates momentarily, but it falls back out. Ripped in by Laughlin. Left for Zerko. Back to the middle. Ryder. Back to Zerko. Zerko turned away. Kicks back out to Rysack. Rysack leaves for DC. Sends it far ice for... There we go! Gets pinned! Jonah Bird! His third of the season! He's usually in the blue ice, but from range, Jonah Bird converts and gets the Marauders up one early. Oh, we love Jonah Bird goals here, and we got another one. Hopefully he keeps that streak up going into the playoffs. He's got, what, 3 goals in his last 3 games? That's a goal a game, Jonah. Not too bad. Not too bad. Well, after the opening goal of the game on their 5th shot, with 13:54 left in our first frame, the Marauders take a quick 1-0 lead. Unusual face-off man, Andrew Zerko in. Don't see him in there much, but I'll see what he's made of. Oh, with a little bit of conversation going on the Drexel bench. Coach, clearly not a fan of that last play, something going on there, really getting his goat. But the officials will say play on. Andrew Zerko, tied up, wins to Millersville. Martin defers out to Bell. Bell back to Martin. Martin sends it cross ice for Stromberg. Stromberg from the faceoff circle goes up. Oh, wow. A zip code wide of Vassallo. But I like the shot. Sent back in. Hard again from close range. Couldn't get a stick down fast enough, but DZ comes back. Left for Stromberg. No. It's going to be good for Morgan. 3 near goals for Millersville, all turned away by Vincent Vassallo. Really thought we were going to get our second there, but sometimes the puck luck just isn't going your way. 13:33 left on our first frame. The Marauders outshoot their hosts 6-2 and outgoal them by 1. It's Aiden Carey on the faceoff to the glove side of Vassallo from Millersville. Carey wins it back out to Corelli. Sent in by Martin. Body block by Andrew Walsh. Looking for Basin. Picked off in the Marauders' D zone. Martin surveys. Finds Bieber. Bieber kicks out to Carey. Carey just outskates it. Oh, bit of an armpit block by Justin Corelli. But it frees it up for Stephen Basin anyway. Basin will send it around the fishbowl for Aiden Barrett. Good skates by the ref, getting his blade out of the way of that puck. And he'll be in a good position to call icing on the Marauders. 12:59 to go in our first period. The Marauders controlling play so far, but just one, so nothing to be too confident about yet. But shots have been looking good. Defense has been looking good, not letting many shots in on Rusnok. And when they do get into the zone, they usually pick off the pass in transition. So defense looking stout early on for Millersville. Drexel takes the face-off. Josh Search sends it in a high of Rusnok. Corelli controls, defers to Carey. Carey doesn't handle the pass as well as you would have liked, but it gets to Bell anyway. Bell kicks to Bieber and out to Corelli. Streaking through the Drexel Dragons zone. Puts it well wide of Vassallo. And Vassallo knocks his net off its moorings and elicits a stoppage in play with 12:39 to go. Upcoming schedule, well, there's only one thing left on the schedule, and that will be the Colonial Cup playoffs. Every game at LAR next weekend, February 6th to February 8th. Not sure what time yet, but Millersville will be playing Stockton in the first round. Wins the draw out quickly, left for Slaybaugh. Slaybaugh back to Wilkinson. Dunnigan at the blue line. Waters down low. Slaybaugh finds Waters. Waters hesitates for a second, but finds Dunnigan anyway. Dunnigan sends it in wide of Vassallo. Good play set up. Back out to Wilkinson. Wilkinson loses it to Held. Held chips it out to Jones. Jones loses it quickly to Wilkinson. Wilkinson back to the middle, looking for John Waters. Waters bangs it off the glass. Slaybaugh will chase it down. Slaybaugh lays a hit in his man, knocks him to the ice. That's number 16, Evan Eisler, taking a seat on the ice for just a second. He's back up, though. Kai Dunnigan, the captain, controls in the back line. Jake Petticone going through as a man behind him, man to the other side of him, takes it himself. Jake Petticone sends in, takes it the whole way, and Vassallo will glove it. 11:47 left to go. Millersville gets 7 shots on the starting goaltender for Drexel. His opposite, Gavin Rusnok, only had to face 2, but he's looked good in those 2 shots. Oh, my hand is numb already. It's going to be a bad day for righty, folks. Drexel controls the faceoff quickly, bared down on by Alan Ryder. Basin controls, but loses to Ryder quickly. Rysack kicks it out for Ryder. No one can stick it for more than a couple seconds, but it falls to Laughlin. Laughlin, cross ice, out to O'Connell. O'Connell rips it, goes wide or high of Vassallo. A lot of mustard on that shot from Walter O'Connell, but just over the head of Vassallo. It'll be Alan Ryder anticipating the glove side face-off here. He wins it, defers quickly to O'Connell. O'Connell from the blue line, blocked by a shin of Stephen Basin. Rysack turns it around for Ryder. Morgan is down in the crease. Ryder throws the brakes for a second. Quid sends the shot in on double V's, and he'll make the stop on his 8th of the evening. 11:10 left to go in the first. There were a couple of demolitions last night as Stockton just destroyed Seton Hall 10-1 to book their spot in the playoffs, and UPenn annihilated Drexel 10-2 last night in this building, and a little less of an impressive score, but Scranton locked up their spot as the 3 seed with a 3-0 win in 2 periods over TCNJ. Number 3 controls. Kicks out for Ryder. Ryder and Morgan staying with it. Morgan trying to break off the pass, but he can't. Comes out to Fletcher. Fletcher enters the zone right as he gets the shot off. Laughlin gets the stick down and sends the shot well wide and into the seating. 10:44 to go in the first. And there are 2 other conference games going on tonight as you see a possible championship preview as Scranton will visit Westchester and UPenn will head up to Seton Hall to see if they can fully lock up that 6th seed stolen from these Drexel Dragons. Out to Josh Search. Search will send it in for Aiden Barrett. Barrett on the periphery. Out to Basin. Basin being sandwiched into the boards by Martin. Can't get anywhere on him. Martin and Zerko just trying to get it out of there, guys. Someone free it, please. There you go, Thor. Thor will skate it out, throws the brakes, sends it into neutral ice for Zerko. Zerko sends out to Stromberg. Stromberg back to Zerko, but a stick duel will inhibit that pass. Martin backtracks, sends a stick to the legs, gets 5-hold. Uh-oh. It's Aiden Barrett in, hesitates, goes back, and sends it wide of Rusnock. Stromberg kicks it out to Bell. Bell behind the back pass, lead for Stromberg, but it's picked up by Held. Andrew Walsh, pass immediately intercepted by Jonah Bird, the goal scorer. Bird looking for his second backhand forehand, gets picked off. Stromberg in, Zerko in. No one can get a shot down, but it falls to Martin for the blue line. Martin will send it into the crease, looking for Stromberg. Stromberg, whoa, gets knocked to his skates, but that's a pretty normal sight for the Marauders. Back in on Zerko. Zerko goes wide again, but takes a hit from his man. Drexel bench trying to get fired up about that. Bell rips it in. Body block in this cold by Andrew Walsh. Man, he's going to be wearing that one tomorrow, but good block. Bird to Stromberg in the middle. Stromberg out to Zerko. Zerko from the faceoff circle. Broken up by a sea of bodies in the middle. Zerko back out to Corelli from the blue line. Corelli sends it in for Stromberg. He was occupied at the time, so he couldn't get his stick down. Back out to Corelli from the Marauders blue line. Chipped in as the Marauders will get a line change off. Dunnigan and Petticone launch at the fray. And Carey also comes into things. Dunnigan frees it up quickly, but it goes right back to Corey Held in the Drexel D zone. Wes Bieber nearly picked that pass off, but it finds Zachary Jones. Jones through neutral ice, sandwiched off by Carey and Petticone. Dragons a little overzealous to get a shot in on Rusnock. Get tagged for an offsides. 8:27 left to go in the first. The Marauders controlling things so far. My hand is so cold. It's like it'll be Carey on the draw from Millersville. One quickly by Drexel. Corelli tied up with the skates for a second. Blocked by Petticone. Couldn't find it there for a second. Carey comes away with it. Carey body off it, but it's picked up by Dunnigan. Dunnigan works out to Corelli. Corelli fans on the pass. And Drexel will control. Out to Zachary Jones. Jones from his own blue line. Harassed by Corelli. Corelli and Jones get tied up and kiss the ice. 8 minutes left in the first as number 8. Andrew Walsh goes for behind the back pass, but is picked up quickly by Millersville. Slay ball from the blue. Will just send it in and around, looking for Wilkinson or Bieber, but it finds a Dragon's stick. Bieber turns around quickly. Bieber sends it in right at Vassallo. He'll glove it. His 8th shot he's faced this evening, only let one past him. 7:42 left in the first. Taking a look at the standings on the last day of the regular season, Westchester had that 1 seed locked up for a while at 27 points. Newman 24, Scranton 22, us 20, Stockton 16, UPenn 14, Drexel 12, Seton Hall 4, and TCNJ in their first year back in the CSCHC has a winless 0-16 campaign. Carey gets in quickly, but UPenn comes away with it. Not UPenn. I'm looking at the logo. Brian O'Reilly of Drexel loses it quickly after a big hit in the boards. Rysack will control, trying to find Cop Show or Slayball. He finds neither and only finds an icing call. 7:12 left to go in the first. Much like the Lehigh game last night, Rusnock not really having to do a whole lot early on in this one. Faced 2 shots out of the gate quickly, but has been picking daisies in the outfield. That's what I used to do in baseball. But he's been, the hockey version of that, just kind of skating around, looking at things, thinking of what he's going to have for dinner tonight. Maybe doesn't leave his boots in the locker room. Trying to remember not to do that. Well, we'll get things ready to go here. Face off for the glove side of Rusnock. Unfamiliar spot so far in this game. Bieber trying to cut things off down low. To me, it's Cop Show. Both West. Slayball goes in and Bieber gets to stick to it. I did say Bieber again. Stop. It's Cop Show, Garrick. Drexel controls. Barrett stuck to the far side. Has to go around. Defers to his man on the blue line. That's number 15, Owen Mendelum. Little nifty behind the back pass for Barrett. Opens it up for Basin, but Basin turned away by Lachlan and Rysak. Out to Held. Held. Open shot. Deflected. In transition. Get in on Rusnock. Absolute pandemonium in front of the net as it comes off his moorings without a goal. A little bit of pushing and shoving. Cop Show smart not to go in. A lot of yelling and pointing. Looks like we'll have a penalty coming up for one of these teams. Drexel's bench clearly not happy with something that Millersville did. Not sure what that would be, but looks like refs just talking it over with both benches here. Again, they still have their season to play for here, so tensions are going to be high here at the class of 1923. 6:30 left to go in our first period. Wilkinson gets ready to take it from Millersville as a silence falls over the arena here. That was kind of weird. Wilkinson back with it to first to Slayball. Slayball from his own blue line, throws the brakes, leaves for Cop Show. Cop Show sandwiched off, pass picked off in the Dragons defensive zone. Dragons defensive den. There's 3. I like my alliteration. Lachlan will backtrack to control it. Lachlan goes far ice looking for Morgan. Morgan gets held up on the boards. Rysak throws a stick at it but can't control it. Gets back to Morgan. Morgan jukes his man out for a split second, frees himself some skating room. Morgan through the neutral zone. Taking it himself. Johnny Morgan has Ryder down low, takes it himself. Ryder leaning to chase the rebound down. Off the boards. Rebound picked up by Morgan. Left for O'Connell. O'Connell back to Martin. Martin will send it in. Goes right off the shin of a Dragon. Close range shot for O'Connell. Does not find pay dirt. But Bell sends it right back in. Ricochets off Morgan and finds Drexel possession, but it goes right back to Ben Bell. Ben Bell tries to go 5-hole on his man. Can't. Pass chipped in. Need to be chased down by O'Connell on his wonderful mustache. Kick back out to Barrett. Evan Eisler defers to his man. Kicks out to Zachary Jones. Played it off their own bench. 5 minutes left in our first period. Drexel has only been able to muster a Connor Rysak of shots. If you're paying attention to numbers, you know how many shots they have. And us, we have an Andrew Zerko. And it's a, what is it? It's a Jackson Bell to, I don't think we have a 0. I don't know any number zeros. Well, 5:06 left to go in the first. You should know all the numbers. Josh Search controls it at central ice. Chipped in, immediately picked off by Millersville. I'm not sure what they're trying to set up there. Martin controls. Sandwiched off, left for Stromberg. Stromberg, cross-ice feature, Bird. Bird can't play it cleanly, and it falls into the clutches of a Dragon. Bird gets it back, leaves for Martin. Martin looking for Stromberg. Stromberg plays out to Bird. Bird and Zerko entering. Bird sends it in. Tries to go short side on Vassallo, but it gets closed off. His 10th shot he's faced. Looking good so far. Vassallo only let in 1. Ben Bell goes down low. Cross-ice pass. Tries to find Zerko. Gets out to Martin. Has to kick it off his skates. Thor from the blue line. Sends it in for Bell. Excuse me, Bird. Bird can't read back. Bird gets open. Oh, no. Jonah Bird again. Denied at the last possible second. And right in front of the official, Jonah Bird's going to get tagged. I believe a cross-check. I'm glad he got his goal, but that's how most things go for Jonah Bird. He gets there, he gets in really good positioning, but something right at the end usually goes a little wonky for number 43 as he's having a little bit of an extended conversation with the official, not happy about the call. But they don't see the initial action. They always catch the retaliation, and Jonah Bird gets caught. Well, he'll be in the box for 2 minutes, as we'll have 4 minutes left of our first period. Drexel looking for their first real consistent opportunity. Have not been able to find it so far. Drexel from the blue line, ripped in on Rusnock. Rusnock down a man. Quick clearance by Millersville. Good slow bounce. Needed to be sticked out by Vassallo. 15 seconds gone on the penalty kill. Millersville, good poke check from Wes Kopshow. Kills another couple seconds. Cross ice pass to the official. Think he had a man there. A bit of a miscommunication. Wes Kopshow frees himself with Vassallo. Kopshow nearly gets the Marauders their third shorty of the season, I think. I know they had 2 against Newman, but Drexel hasn't been able to muster. They got 1 shot so far in 40 seconds. Kopshow causing mayhem for the power play unit for Drexel here. Dunnigan back checks, keeping a good angle on his man, keeping him stuck on the wall. Kicked out to Barrett. Barrett from the faceoff circle. Dunnigan goes to a needed, drop it in. Close in. Open shot for Fletcher. Has no lane below a minute on the Bird penalty. Back out to Barrett. Barrett left for Fletcher. Fletcher boxed out by Dunnigan, but Dunnigan gets blindsided by a guy. Bit of push stay out of my goalie's crease. That's a captain right there. Drexel having trouble finding a shot here. Stephen Basin will send it cross ice for Walsh. Walsh back in for Basin. Basin closed off. Good body block by Kai Dunnigan. Leaves it for Wes Bieber. Bieber gets his stick chopped. Ref sees that one. Marauder bench happy as an amazing penalty kill for Millersville. Lets up 2 kind of bumpy, close shots. Never really got an open look. And good blocks from Kai Dunnigan and Wes Kopshow, these stars of that Marauder penalty kill unit on the first attempt. Okay, my dad's let me know my brother saw the cross check. It was a pretty obvious cross check, Thurman. Even I saw that one. 2:31 left to go. We'll be 4-on-4 for another 20 seconds. And for 1:40, the Marauders will be up a man. It'll be Zachary Jones heading into timeout. That's funny. Both teams have to share the same penalty box. So Bird and Jones just talking shop there while they're in timeout. This rink is so funny. I love it. Quick shot in from Millersville from Morgan. Chased down on by O'Connell. Kicked out to Martin from the blue. Martin. Behind the back pass from Bell. Left behind Morgan. O'Connell swipes at it, trying to free it. Morgan bears down on his man. Look out. Morgan doesn't lay the hit. Morgan gets stick tied up, and we're back. All right, now we're back, but the Marauders will be up a man for their 1.5 minutes. Bird coming out of the sin bin. He's ready to go. 2 minutes left in the first. Bird cross ice to Stromberg. Stromberg surveying in no rush. Just leaves for Martin. Martin out to O'Connell. O'Connell rips it from close range, goes high of Vassallo. Back out to Stromberg. Resetting the play. Stromberg out back to Bird. Bird has O'Connell close. Instead goes to O'Connell again. Out to Stromberg. Stromberg from the faceoff circle. The first row. O'Connell has Morgan in the middle and Bird. Stromberg grips in for Bird. Bird puts it through. Jonah Bird, 4 goals in 3 games. Gets the Marauders their second of the night. Oh, I love me some Jonah Bird goals. Absolutely clinical finishing out of Jonah Bird. Usually he gets a stick tap there or he gets knocked over or something, but he gets the tap in this time. 1:26 left to go. The Marauders double their lead. It'll be Carey on the draw for Millersville. Can't be controlled by Bieber. Rysack and Laughlin will chase it down. Laughlin Looking for a clearance. Lachlan gets hammered, but he stays on his skates. Off the boards, Millersville lunged at by Corelli. Left for Held. Held. Bit of a miscommunication on the pass there. I've seen a couple of passes like that. Drexel maybe not sure where their guys are at all times. 2-on-1 back there behind Vassallo. He's got to keep his head in the swivel. Less than a minute left to go here in the first period. Corelli nearly trips himself up there, and Millersville gets called for an offside. And after this 45 minutes are up, or 45 seconds rather are up, 45-minute periods, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Stick around. We'll have an exclusive interview with the Coach Schroeder from about 4 hours ago. I wrote down what he said, but I'll tell you what he said. Very interesting interview. So stick around in the first intermission. I'll get you that. It'll be O'Connell taking the draw from Millersville, won by Drexel. Drexel looking for something, but it won't happen on that possession as Dunnigan intercepts the pass. Dunnigan out to Petticone. Petticone trying to find O'Connell, but overcooks the pass just a tad and elicits an icing call. 32.1 seconds left to go. Marauders outshoot the hosts 14-5 and lead in the goal department 2-0. Oh, my right hand is so cold. It'll be O'Connell waiting for the draw again for Millersville. The main face-off man wins that one, but it shoots right back towards Rusnock. He'll glove it, and we'll do it all again. 28.6 left to go. Millersville wins this one too. Out to Petticone. Petticone rings off the boards. Good look there for Ryder. Ryder trips up a little bit, but leaves for Morgan. Morgan all alone. Ricochets off Vassallo's glove. Kept in by Ryder. Out to O'Connell. O'Connell taken away by a pair of sticks, and the puck flies up here. Again, no netting, folks. Watch out. Fans go home with a lucky souvenir with 11 seconds left to go in our first period. Again, that's why I'm glad I'm all the way up here. It'll take a really bad hit for me to be in danger. O'Connell pokes at it. Maybe one more opportunity for Drexel if they can be fast. They cannot. It's cleared out. And that will do it for our first period. The Marauders shoot 15 on Vassallo, score 2. Rusnock faces 5 and lets up none. So, it is the first season for Matthew Schroeder coaching back at his alma mater at Millersville. And they're playing Dancing Queen on the PR, or on the PA. Thanks, here. I like it. But I took the time on the bus ride over here to see Coach Schroeder's thoughts on his first year. First, I asked him, just starting out, how have you liked your first year here at Millersville? Said, yeah, great year. The ups and downs, ebbs and flows of coaching. He had a quote by Bill Parcells said, you have 68 problems you don't know about heading in every day, and it's a matter of taking care of them. Said he loves to be back here at his alma mater, and he was so thankful of the team captains giving him the opportunity and the privilege to come back and coach here at Millersville. Then I asked him, how is his perspective on the game being influenced by his position? If you don't know, he was a goalie in college. So usually the goalies become coaches, like in the MLB, kind of catchers become coaches like that. It's a very cerebral position. And Coach Schroeder echoed that sentiment, saying being a goalie, you always have to see and understand the game differently. And it gives him the game sense to really understand every point of the game, knowing what buttons to push, what levers to pull. Those goalies, weird guys always, but they know what they're talking about. Next, again, a bit of a weird thing. With him being a similar age to a lot of his players, even actually playing with some of them, have there been any difficulties in keeping up the order as the head coach in the room? He said a few guys in the team were actually freshmen here when he was a senior on the play. I think Rysak was a freshman, maybe a couple others. Said one of the coaches that he looks up to the most was his dad. It's something his dad always told him is you need to separate yourself from the team. Obviously, he said he loves every single guy. He goes out to war for him on the ice every night, but he loves winning a whole lot more. So he says his philosophy is to separate himself and get the job done. And he's been doing it so far today and so far this season. Next, I said, yeah, it's a good problem to have, but still a problem. Having 2 playoff quality goaltenders in Tyler Cassidy and Gavin Rusnock. Being a goalie himself, he knows how difficult those decisions can be, and you got to keep their psyche intact. It's a whole jumble of things for the coach to figure out. So I asked him if there's any kind of plan for the playoffs goalie-wise. Said he has a tentative plan in mind, but that all comes down to practice, film, and who's the best matchup for Stockton. Says it is an absolute blessing to have two great goalies ready to go at any night for him. While it is an issue and it makes the decisions very difficult, it's a problem, but it's a problem he is more than happy to have. Next, I said it's evident that him and Coach Nick Latronica have created a great locker room environment. And how are they able to do it? And how important is a good culture to team success? He said, yeah, a good locker room culture is essential to success that you'll see on the ice, off the ice, and in the classroom. His and Coach Latronica's policy from day one was the team was to be open and honest. He always wants to be straight up with his players because it's better to have that difficult conversation when he sees something he doesn't quite like than kind of spare the players' feelings and have them play confused, not quite knowing what he wants. Coach Latronica echoed that sentiment, and he said he always wants to be there to talk to and support his players with anything they can need, and he stressed open communication about all coaching decisions. And finally, the question of the hour, why can this team repeat as conference champions? Coach Schroeder said we have everything we need from the first to fourth line, first to third defensive pairings, first to third goalie. He said since training camp that everyone needs to be pulling on the same rope. And after a bit of a bumpy start, getting to know each other, getting to the new system, he believes that team has taken the message to heart. He fully believes they can reaffirm themselves as conference champions, and I think they can as well. Second period coming up in about 13 minutes. Stick with us on YouTube.